Mac and I have been talking about. I think we even talked about this December, January. Like, Debo was unhappy. You know where he'd fit? Washington. So this was a pretty easy one to predict. The two things that jump out to me with this deal. Number one, it's a perfect fit. So Washington's got a ton of cap space, and Cliff Kingsbury's offense, which is a lot of motion, a lot of tricks, needs a chess piece. Debo is not your classic number one receiver. He doesn't really separate. I think he's had 1,000-yard reception year, and that was 4 years ago. He's not Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. But Debo Samuel is a great chess piece, and Shanahan is a chess master, and Cliff Kingsbury, as an offensive coordinator, is a chess master. So Debo really works with about a half dozen teams in this league. So that's the first thing. He's a good fit. The second thing, though, they only gave up a fifth-round pick. Now think about that. A fifth-round pick. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys in their division gave up a fourth-round pick for quarterback Trey Lance. And basically every quarterback that Kyle Shanahan's ever had, he makes them better. Kyle Shanahan gave up on Trey Lance. The Cowboys gave up a fourth-round pick for Trey Lance. Third string, behind Cooper Rush. They gave up a fourth-round pick, the Cowboys did, for Jonathan Mingo, who I told you the day they did it. That's a terrible move. Mingo, by the way, last year had 5 catches for Dallas. Like, I'm telling you moves. I'm a sportscaster. You can't just give away picks. And you see this in the NFL. You start making 2 or 3 great moves. You get a Jaden Daniels. You get a Debo for a fifth-round pick. You get Kingsbury. He was going to be a Raider or a Bear coordinator. No, you steal Kingsbury with an aggressive deal. And then you, on the other side in your division, you overpay a quarterback who's a B, Dak, and make him A++ money quarterback. And then you give away fourth-round picks. And all of a sudden, 1 year later, you look at the Cowboys in Washington. 2 years ago, Cowboys are winning 12 games. Washington is a laughingstock. Today, the Debo move considered. Washington's a better team, a better organization, a better quarterback, and a much better deal.
Yeah. So to me, that's the bigger story than actually Debo on the field and what this means for the Commanders. Because truthfully, they're not a Debo away from beating the Eagles in the NFC Championship game and winning the Super Bowl. They're a few pieces away, right? They're not just one piece away. And, Debo is older. He's not exactly what he used to be. I still think it's a great pickup for them, especially considering what they've had to give up and what they will owe him this season. But like, as I've said a lot, like I am all in on them being aggressive in terms of elevating their defense as well as that O-line, and to make sure that they have a consistent run game, to make sure that they don't have to have Jaden Daniels be such a prominent factor in the run game in terms of like being the leading rusher, especially in the playoffs. And so like them getting a Debo, that move to me is not like, oh yeah, it's on for the Commanders now. It's like, no. There's still so many other moves that I need to see them do. And obviously, you guys know I'm incredibly high on the Commanders. But what this signals to me more than anything is the change that is of the Commanders. And that's what Colin was kind of saying. But I just want to emphasize it significantly more because it just can't be understated. Because we see poorly run teams like the Commanders, of the past, make decisions, make moves where, one, they don't even like pick up the phone to try to get a Debo, right? Like, it just doesn't happen. Or in order to get a Debo, they give up, a second and a third, and they restructure his contract to give him $700 million a season. And you're just like, bro, what the heck was that right now? We've seen teams do this again and again and again and again and again. Now the Commanders have entered the conversation where they're like, oh, Debo went to the Commanders? I thought he wanted to go to the Broncos. Or I thought about, this team wanted him or that team. And it's the Commanders just quietly get him. And they get it for just a fifth-round pick. And, like, that's it. And it gives them kind of freedom. I believe that they, will only have to pay him like 16, 17 million this season. And then the next season, I believe they can still cut him. I'm not 100% sure. But it just gives them more freedom and flexibility, and at the very least, you get him on a relatively cheapish deal. It's always so hard to. Everyone's always so confident and like I paid this wide receiver this amount of money, but not this amount of money or this money, and it's just like don't get stuck in that. A lot of people thought that people overpaid for Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, and like they were underpaid at the end of the day. Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry were worth $30 million. They just were, considering what they did for their team. So it's like don't get too lost in like the numbers too much, quite frankly, but. To me, this move is so much more continues to be an indicator of just how much better run the Commanders are, and like they're entering the conversation now of being like a top run team. And as you guys know, like I'm all about on how your team is run, because that is the predictor of success, and that is the sustainability of success. Sure, you can get lucky and get a great quarterback and a great wide receiver and a great defensive player or something, and now you have a really good team and even a great team, and you could even win. You could win a Super Bowl or two. But like there's no guarantee that that's going to be sustained, because you were just pretty fortunate to be able to like draft second and get Jaden Daniels or so and so. But when you're a highly run team, then you continue to make moves. And when you are winning, you continue to make moves that keep you winning. Or again, you're going to make some moves or deal with some injuries, have a bad contract, no matter how great you are. And then it's like the greatly run franchises know how to pivot. They know how to change. They know, okay, we're having a down year. That's okay. No panic. We're going to now make a couple other moves to try to get back to where we were in previous years or whatever it may be. We've seen this with the Chiefs. We've seen this with the Eagles. We see this with all the greatly run franchises. And that's what you want to see. Honestly, if you're a Commanders fan, you want to see that more than just like Jaden Daniels being great or something. Like you do, because it's an indicator that it's not just the players. It's the franchise now. You want to see the franchise be great, not just the individual players. And so that's what I think a move like this kind of really signals. And again, I don't think that Debo's coming here and he's just going to like light the league on fire. To me, it's just a question mark. These types of players who are aging, players who haven't had amazing seasons in in the previous year, I don't automatically discount. I'm definitely kind of a little bit more of a wait and see, because again, everybody was very confident. I think Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are probably the best examples of this, because it was just last season, right? And we had a lot of people who were like, I don't know, they're on the wrong side of 20 or 26 or 27, whatever the age is, and you're giving them a lot of money. And like again, they were massive contributors. And I do think that Cliff Kingsbury will be able to do a lot of interesting stuff with Debo. But I just do think, again, from my viewpoint, it's just like they have more work to do. And again, another perfect example of this continues to be the Eagles. It's like when they just got Saquon Barkley, it's like, okay, that's great, but like, what about the defense? What about this? What about the O-line? Like, there's still other things that need to be filled in. It wasn't just like, oh, the Eagles got Saquon, it's over, it's a wrap. It's like, no, like there was a lot of other moves that needed to happen. And so we're so early on in the offseason. I know it's tempting to just be like, to just want to like jump in and just like plant the flag that like, this is it, here we come, let's go. And it's like, there's still a series of many moves to be made, but this is definitely going to be an exciting one. This is going to be a bit of an energizing one. And what I think is cool is because Debo also got a little wonky with the 49ers, and I think it's cool because it feels also now that the Commanders, especially with Jaden Daniels, Dan Quinn, and Cliff Kingsbury specifically, that they have the culture now where they can invite, a little bit of a messier player into their locker room. And again, I'm not acting like Debo's like this massive diva, but just like, stronger personalities, and not have any fear that it could be disruptive or that it could cause any type of issues. And again, that signals to also kind of like, the foundation of the franchise itself that the Commanders are building. So I just think it's pretty cool to see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders getting Debo? Do you think they're set up for long-term success? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.